welcome to the Craft House Magic podcast. My name's Ellie Jones and this is the 6th episode already. So you can find me on Instagram as Craft House Magic, and now I've changed my name on Ravelry to Craft House Magic as well, so you can find me more easily. I used to be EllieB93, which was slightly random. So I'm pretty much Craft House Magic on everywhere now. So I've got my own website called crafthousemagik.co.uk if you want to find me there, and it's got lots of links to my other social media platforms and my Etsy shop as well, and my Etsy shop's called Craft House Magic as well. So nice and easy. So today I'm drinking a very sweet drink called Peanut Hottie. I'll show you the tub so you can see what it looks like. So basically it's a bit like hot chocolate, but it's absolutely just peanutty beyond measure. I always drink this and Adam says, oh, you can really smell that, it really stinks of peanuts. But it tastes good, so I don't care. So today I've got some knitting projects, some sewing projects, some requisitions, and some bobbin lace as well. And I've decided to include another little section where I show you my sort of sewing or knitting related gadgets that I quite like. So if we start with knitting first, I haven't got any finished objects this week, but I've done lots of bits of everything, so it doesn't look as if I've actually done much, but never mind. So I've finished knitting most of the first sock of my ice yarn socks. So this is going to be an Afterthought heel, and you can see the side where I've put some scrap yarn in so I can pick up the stitches for the heel later. I was going to do the Smooth Operator socks by Susan B. Anderson, but I decided just to try out a sort of simple Afterthought heel out of my sock architecture book first, but I will be doing the Smooth Operator socks soon. Another exciting project. So I've started on the second sock. So this is my ice yarns, that's what the yarn's called, and this was given to me by my friend Jean. She said it was a little bit rough for her, so it is quite on the rough side, but I think sometimes when it's a little bit rough it tends to be a little bit more durable, so hopefully they'll last a long time, and I don't think I've really noticed the feel of a rougher yarn on your feet anyway, so those should be good. What I did notice when I got, I don't know if you can see, it's getting a bit dark in here, I hope you can see the pattern anyway, but I got to a point where there was a knot in the yarn. That really makes me cross. Where they'd obviously just joined it, but they don't pay attention to where the pattern is, because I wanted them to match. And I'd taken so much time to match these top bits up that when I come to this little knot, I had to make sure that my pattern was going to continue on as it was, you know, so it all matches up, because you go to the effort, you know. And then I had to wind off a load of yarn because it had actually gone on a couple of metres, just a couple of metres, but then the pattern would have been a couple of rows out. Not good. I've noticed that I've had some West Yorkshire Spinners yarn that did that as well, and it makes you cross. So I suppose all the yarns do it, just so happens that I happen to keep picking the balls with these knots in. Oh. Anyway, enough moaning for now. So I'm chuffed with how those are coming along, and I'm thinking of doing like a red heel or something. I noticed that Knitting I Love, she'd done like a brownie sort of orangey coloured heel with the same yarn, I think, but she'd unwound some of this coloured pattern there that she didn't like. She only had one of that repeat in her sock, and she'd wound off this part on the other repeats, so because she didn't like it too much. But I think I'll have a red Afterthought heel in mine. I think that'll look really nice. So I've been playing around with the 3 sets of needles that I was testing out in the last episode, and I'll show you the projects one by one. So my Drops Fable, and I can't remember the colourway because I'm absolutely rubbish. I've done about the same on each of the 3 socks, just so I can get an idea of how much I like the different needles, just in the stocking stitch section. So I really like this this Fable yarn, and it's quite interesting because there's lots of different colours in there. I don't remember what the flipping yarn's called, but these are on my Addy lace needles that I was trying out. So they've got a gold tip, and they're supposed to be quite sharp, and then they've got quite a flexible pink cord. And I think actually out of the 3 sets of needles that I bought to sort of do a test, these are my favourites, probably because the Chowgoos have that bend in. Other than that, I think they're quite equal, so I like these. So that's my sort of pink coloured Fable. Then I've got a blue coloured Fable yarn, which are on the Chowgoos. And if you remember from the last episode, I was showing these needles as well, and these are the ones with the bend in. So I do like these needles apart from that bend, but I do believe you can get them without the bend, so I might try and see if I can get some without that. I think it slows me down slightly when I'm just moving my stitches on and off the needles, but that's coming out quite nicely. I'm sorry about the light, it's getting late in the day. I should have podcasted much earlier. I'd like to cover my face up, but so that's knitting up quite nicely. And here's the 3rd set, where I was knitting on my Knit Pro Zing circulars, and this is with some hand dyed yarn that I'd done some speckle dyeing with. And I completely have the same opinion as the last episode, that there's a bit of a transitional issue here for me because I'm such a tight knitter. But actually Emma from Eldenwood Craft said that she's also quite a tight knitter, but it doesn't bother her too much. So I don't think this is an opinion that everybody has, so don't let me put you off them. Okay, so I'll just give you another look. So I've done about the same length on all 3 of these socks. I think what I might do now is, instead of trying to knit them all at the same time, just focus on one pair. But I think I might try and knit my grey ice yarn socks first. Get those Afterthought Heel in. That's quite exciting because that's the first time I've sort of done an Afterthought Heel, so that's really lovely. Excuse me. Right, so I have done a little bit of knitting on my Sugar Plum shawl, the Mina Phillip pattern, but I've only done about 4 rows, so I don't think I'm going to bother showing you that this time. I'll show you on the next episode. Hopefully I'll get more of that done. Despite the many hours I've been putting into my building blocks shawl, it only looks as if I've done a very little bit. So I don't know if I can get this all in shot. So I've done the next section, which is in my sort of blue yarn. So this is all hedgerow yarns, and these yarns are an absolute pleasure to knit. Really lovely. I don't think the light's really picking this up properly, but I'll do my best. The sun's going down now, and I've got a daylight bulb, and I don't think it's giving enough light really, but never mind. So it's actually not just the yarn, it's the pattern's quite a pleasure to knit because it's quite intuitive once you get past the brioche stage. What I forgot to say on the last episode when I was doing the brioche is that I dropped some stitches and I found there was a couple of really cool YouTube videos that showed you how to pick up the stitches, and actually it's much easier than you think. I thought, oh, I'm never going to be able to pick those up. So this colour is absolutely scrummy, really lovely. And I've just started with the grey yarn just on the next section. I'm hoping to have more knitting time before the next podcast and hopefully get it finished. This is my target. We'll see. I'm hoping. I'm putting myself under pressure now telling you guys. So this blue yarn, or sort of turquoise, and the grey is 50% silk and 50% wool. And then we've got the tweed, which is like a yellowy greeny colour here, which is like a tweed sock yarn. And oh no, do you know, I've told you a lie. This blue I think is just a standard sock base, which is merino, which is really nice and soft. But it's the cream colour, which I've got in between here, and the grey that's the 50% silk and 50% wool. But they're all so soft anyway, and really such a pleasure to knit. I'm definitely going to buy some of her yarns again. Oh, it's lovely. So such a pleasure to knit. Right, I'm going to try and get that done by the next episode. You can tell me off if I don't get it finished. I'm so annoyed that I didn't get any finished projects this week. Well, in terms of knitting anyway. So, I think we need to go on to requisitions before the daylight runs out. I wonder if I just put this... I'm just angling up my daylight bulb a bit higher so that you can see. So, I've been buying some yarn, which is really naughty, but I just couldn't resist. Ooh. Well, so Lizzie, Lizzie plus 5 on Instagram, she runs a shop called Looking Glass Fibre Arts. And I entered a competition that Lizzie did called Lizzie's Whip Down 2016. So basically we were just hashtagging our projects that we were trying to get finished on Off the Needles before the end of the year. But there was a prize draw and I won first prize. I'm so excited. Well, I've got the prizes. So the first one I chose, so this is Lizzie's card. Looking Glass Fibre Arts, and she puts these gorgeous little stitch markers with it, with the little looking glass on. There we go. So this colourway, oh, it's absolutely gorgeous. It's got blues and greens and lovely speckly bits in. Really lovely. I don't think it's doing it justice on the camera today because the sun's going down outside. Well, there's not much light left, I'm afraid. So this one is on Lizzie's Super Sheep base, and it's got 100% superwash merino wool, and it's 100 grams, 438 yards. And I've had Lizzie's sheep feet wool before. It's lovely, so lovely. So I knitted my sprouting socks with a skein of her yarn before. So she used to be called Ball of Love Yarns, and she's changed her name and rebranded to Looking Glass Fibre Arts, which is lovely. So the second skein I got with my voucher that I won was this gorgeous aubergine. I don't think this is going to come up on my camera. I've noticed that it's not picking up sort of pinks and purples very well, the camera. I'm going to have to sort that out. There is a picture that shows it a little bit more accurately on my Instagram account if anyone wants to have a look. But again, this is the sheep feet, 100% superwash merino wool, and it's just, oh, to die for, and so squidgy. I don't think you can really see the colour properly on the camera, sorry. But Lizzie's yarn, it's so squashy and lovely. So I don't know what to knit. Oh, I did decide actually, the purple one, I think I'm going to make a hat, because this is a similar colour to the coat I wear most days. So if I knit a hat, that would go quite nicely with that. And I was just thinking socks with this colour. That'd be really lovely. Right. So I was happily looking on Instagram, trying not to buy anything. Instagram is terrible. And I saw that Diane at Peggy May Yarns had got some sort of Christmas themed sort of yarn that she'd been dyeing, and I had to get some of this. I tried to resist for a while, but then she had a sale and I couldn't not get any. It's lovely. So I'll stop talking and show you. So it's got little bits of red and green, and I didn't sort of want a very Christmas sort of too dark in your face. I really like speckled sort of yarns. So this is absolutely perfect for that. So these are going to be my Christmas socks for this year. So what I'm trying to do is every year, just before Christmas, cast on that year's Christmas socks. So these are going to be this year. And this is lovely. So Diane's shop, like I said, is called Peggy May Yarns. And there's her little card. And it came with a gorgeous little stitch marker as well, which is, I can't see if this is focusing. Hopefully it's focused. It's a little jingle bell. So this is this is called a Sparkle of Christmas, and it's a 4-ply, 75% superwash merino and 25% nylon. Oh, that's going to be lovely. I don't know whether to do a contrast heel on them or not. I don't know whether it'd spoil it or pick out one of these colours. I have to see. They're definitely going to be my Christmas socks though. And Diane sent me this gorgeous on the skein. So this is called Pink Mist and it's baby alpaca. Oh, so soft. Actually, her merino is super, super soft too. Very squidgy. So these are lovely. So did I tell you everything about it? So it's 100% baby alpaca and it's hand washed. So I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with it yet, but because it's like alpaca and it doesn't stretch very much, but it's got a nice drape to it, I'm thinking it's going to need to be some sort of shawl because it'll give lovely drape. It's got lovely little pink spots in it with the green. Really lovely. So I'm so excited. Got loads to knit. I've really not got to buy any more yarn before Christmas now because I've got plenty. Mind you, there's always things to buy. I'll probably change my mind next week. Right, oh, I'm hoping the light's not too bad. I should have podcasted earlier, but it's been such a busy weekend. I've actually made a list of things I like to talk about. Normally I just completely wing it, but I'm just going to get confused and forget things. So I've got a little list here. There's lots of scribbles on it, so it's difficult to know where I am on the list. So if we move on to sewing, I've been very busy, and you might have noticed, you can see an advent calendar or part of an advent calendar up there. So I've stuck one up there just to make it look a bit Christmassy, but I've also got the rest of them all pinned up here. Now you can see that there's clips on these, and I'm not going to leave, these are wonder clips for sewing. I'm going to get some little tiny wooden pegs to put these onto the ribbon and have them on the wall, just because I think that'll be cuter than just sewing them onto the ribbon. But what I did, so I basically had a printed, I can't think what they're called, I've lost it. Anyway, it's basically, oh, a panel, that's the word. So I've got a panel, I bought a panel of these little stockings, and it basically just gave you the fabric shape and the print for each of these little stockings, and it's basically suggested, I keep saying basically, so it suggested that you cut out the same size piece of fabric in a backing fabric, and then but just sew it together so you've got quite a thin little stocking. But I thought if I want it to last for years and years, I want it to be a bit thicker. So what I've done is I lined the little stockings so that it's a proper little sock rather than just, you know, with the rough edges just on the inside. And I also put some wadding in as well, so it's quite nice and stiff. So if you put anything in there, it's not going to look too lumpy, you know. And what I tried to do is do some free motion stitching around like the heart, or let's see if I find a different example. I've got them all in front of me here. And there's like a little bird on there. Those little hearts across the top. And I've free motioned around the little hearts, but I don't suppose you can really see it on the camera. I've got terrible lighting this afternoon, sorry. I don't know if I show you. I then it came with these little tag parts of the panel, and I thought that would go nicely just on the end of the ribbon I'd bought to go with it, and then I can sort of pin that to the wall. So I've got 3 strips of 8 stockings, so I'm going to put those under each other on one of my walls when we get all the Christmas decorations out. I love these. I think my favourite one is one of the ones up there. I think this one is my favourite one. That's really lovely. Like the sort of Scandinavian grey and red colours together, really nice. So that took me absolutely forever to sew up. I started it earlier last week. I'd had this panel for months. Me and my friend Leslie went to a sewing shop in about July, I think, and I bought this panel and I said, oh yes, I will finish it in like September. No, I started it last week, but I spent a good 2 days making sure I'd free motioned all the little stockings. I should better show you the second one actually, since it's got a little bit tangled up. So that's the third one. So you've got one on the one hung up, that one, and then the one I showed you before. So I've done them in numerical order. I did think about mixing them up, but I thought that the colours looked in such a nice order, it would take ages to get them in a nice order where there wasn't too much red or too much grey in the same place. So I've got to put some chocolates in them now. And I have to share them with Adam though. Right, so more sewing. Oh, so I normally do a blast from the past section, and today's blast from the past, I don't know if you can see, is this top I made. The colour is really not coming out very well. It's quite a sort of a purple colour and it looked a lot greyer in this light. But it's just a sort of plain stretchy t-shirt. Oh, the colour looks slightly more accurate there. It's like a purple colour. And the pattern I used was this New Look pattern. And it's number 6922. And it was basically this, this D. There's two different, a plain and a coloured version. So it's the D size that I used. And I did this a little while ago, but I'd just completely forgotten about it in my wardrobe. I need to make some more clothes. I really enjoy making clothes. It's just sometimes it takes a while to get everything cut out. I need more sewing time. That's basically what it is. So that's my t-shirt. Oh, what I wanted to say about that is I haven't been sewing stretchy tops for that long, but I sort of recently realised that actually you need negative ease for sort of stretch material so that it sort of fits you, because you expect it to be quite sort of tight and snug for these sort of tops. And I think when I cut my first few patterns out, I tended to do it so that it was either the exact size of my actual body or bigger. So you don't need positive ease. Well, depends on how you want it to fit, but the way I wanted it to fit, I needed actually to take some negative ease away. And I can't remember how many inches negative ease, sorry. But I just thought I'd let you know in case you wanted to know something like that, in case you were doing some stretch sewing. Right, oh, I wanted to mention, I don't know whether you'll be interested in this, but as you may know, if you've been watching my podcast before, I'm going to get married next year. Yay! And I'm going to attempt to make a lot of things. We'll see if this happens. So I've shown you before a Bobbin Lace flower. I've got some more Bobbin Lace later to show you. But before that, I wanted to show you some patterns that I bought for my wedding dress and my bridesmaid dress. So if you've watched Tilly's podcast when I joined her a few months ago, you'll know that this is the wedding dress pattern that I bought. It's a Vogue pattern. If I can get a better picture for you. So I really like the little lace sleeves in there, and I thought that this sort of shaped dress might be quite flattering. We don't want it to be too puffy, because I think if you've got lots of curves, you need something to be a bit more fitted to flatter the hip area. So I'm hoping to make this, but I'm not going to make it yet, because I'm trying to lose weight. Although I did eat some Maltesers earlier. I really should watch what I'm eating a bit better. So I'm not going to start this until early next year. And I've also brought the pattern for my bridesmaid dresses. So this is the pattern. And I was really pleased because I got this on sale. It was half price in my local sewing shop, so I got it for about £4, which is a bargain. So this dress here is what I want to adapt slightly for my bridesmaid dresses. So I want to make the sleeves slightly shorter and make the dress a bit longer to make it look a little bit more, I don't know, it looks slightly frumpy, that sort of shape, I think, with the sleeves slightly too long, I think. But I like the lace panel at the top and then a sort of floaty long skirt. So I've got 2 adult bridesmaids and 2 children bridesmaids, so I'm thinking the 2 adults will be wearing this. So I did, to start with, look for some dresses in like Debenhams, etc., to see if I could get anything, but the colour I want is a sort of teal or a petrol blue, and they didn't seem to have any. They're all navy. I don't know why. So I thought, oh, I'll just make it myself. There was one in Coast, but they're £150 each, so I thought maybe I should try making them myself first. So we'll see. So I think that's all my sewing things. So on to the bobbin lace. So last time, so this actually follows on from weddingy things. So last time I showed you this flower that I'd made. I'll make it look a little bit. But I've made a second one. I have changed this slightly. Not quite sure which one looks better. To be honest though, the petal in the centre is a little bit less floppy, which is better. I think this kind of flops around a bit. I've put this centre petal deeper into the centre of the flower. I'm really sorry about this light, it's not good. I'll put some pictures on Instagram later this week. So it's sort of stuck out a bit more. I think it's supposed to be like a lily sort of shape in the pattern. But now we've got 2. I don't know if you'd like to let me know which of the 2 flowers you sort of like best. Whether you think that this petal looks better sticking out more or sticking out less. Tell me what you think, that'd be good. I forgot to say at the beginning actually, there's a Ravelry group for Craft House Magic, so I'll open a thread for this episode, so if you want to put a message there or in just underneath the YouTube video, that would be good. So I've got 2 flowers, so I'm thinking that if I do the whole bouquet I'll probably need about 14 flowers, but I'm not quite sure what they're going to look like, so I'm just going to keep making them and just see. And if I'm finding it difficult to make these flowers, because they do take quite a long time, I might make some organza flowers that are wired as well to go with it. That might be a nice contrast actually, so we'll see. Okay, so that's bobbin lace done. Right, I've forgotten to pick up my gadget. Excuse the nice view of my bust area there. So, my gadget this week is this. I don't know if you can see what it says. What does it actually say? It's called Seam Fix, and I saw this advertised. Oh, this light is terrible, sorry. I saw this advertised on I don't know, somebody was advertising it on the YouTube channel, and I thought, just another seam ripper. So basically it is just a standard seam ripper, but it's got a much larger grippy handle, and then there's these rubber bits on the end here, on the lid as well, so this is the lid. And what it's actually really good for is that if you've been ripping a seam open and you want to get rid of the cotton, you can use the rubber on it to drag the thread away. Everybody might know about this already, but I think that's quite a nice little idea. The only thing is that the lid doesn't go on the end, which is really annoying. But still, I like the rubberized tips that take your thread away. I wasn't convinced that this was going to actually work when I bought it, but it actually works better than I thought, so I'm pleased about that. So that's my little gadget for this time. I think I might try and do that in most episodes if I can find little gadgets that I've bought, because I'm always buying little sewing things. Right, So I think that's all the things I want to talk about apart from my little Etsy shop update. I think that's everything. So if you guys don't want to listen to that bit, thank you for joining me, and I hope to see you next episode. Bye! And for those of you who are interested, I'm just going to show you one of the bags that I'm going to be putting up this afternoon. I have made a couple of these before and they've sold quite quickly, but I've just made another one. I know that my friend Ruth had bought one, but each of them is slightly different in that the fussy cut of the fabric is a little bit different. So this one I've got Merry Christmas in the centre of the bag, but I've made one where it's just off centre and things. So it's got a cute little jingly bell, which isn't showing up very well because the light's rubbish. I've got my little lamp here. It might be, oh gosh, bright light. So it's got a little jingly bell with a little star and a zip, and then I've got a green lining with a little pocket just in there. I've done a slightly different colour pocket to the inside lining on this one. I don't know if you can really see. There's a tone different, or whatever you call it, shade. And it's quite a big bag. I think you can get at least sort of 3 balls in there. Actually, the bag I've got my building block shawl in. Actually, it's the same size as this, so it should take 4 skeins. The back I didn't fussy cut so much, just because the print was so big and I was wasting so much fabric, and I've just put a little green tag there to match. So that's my little Christmas bags. And then I've got some separate little set of 3 stitch markers for Christmas, and one's got a little present with a bell on it. They're not stitch markers, they're progress keepers, sorry, I'm saying the wrong name. And there's a little Christmas tree and a little stocking. This is my favourite little stocking. Is it focusing? There we go. And those come in a little set of 3, and I've also got these little stockings as well. Well, they're little socks really, but they're kind of like stockings for Christmas. So they've got a little gold progress keep lobster clasp, I should say. Really sorry about the lighting today, guys. It's not very good at all. I thought I'd better just record it though, because I won't have time till like next week. Then you'll be thinking, where's that podcast episode, Ellie? Right. Ooh, there was one thing I forgot completely to talk about. So with regards to sort of Christmas makes, I really want to make a little angel for the Christmas tree. And I'd seen, now this isn't the exact pattern, but if you've ever seen these Tilda, I'm trying not to show you the pattern because it's a bought book obviously. These little angel, well, I suppose they're called angels because they've got wings, and I thought I'd make one of those for the Christmas tree. So that's my plans for sewing next, I think. But I'd also like to make some more clothes as well. There's just not enough hours in the day. So thank you everybody for watching. Oh, I forgot to say, that's another thing I forgot. And thank you for everybody who commented on the podcast. Under the YouTube video and also on Ravelry. So I'd just like to say thank you to Lisa, Sarah, Dixie Girl, Terry, Trisha and Viv for just saying some nice comments about the video. And thank you to Eva from The Charm of It. Thank you so much for watching. I always watch Eva, and she says some really interesting things about knitting projects. So if anybody hasn't heard of The Charm of It, you should go and watch it. It's really good. And thank you to Ruth from Knitterarium. She always leaves some really lovely comments, and she also has a podcast as well. So Knitterarium is another really good podcast to watch too. So with regard to the comments about the needle review I did last week, so we had quite an equal split in the preference to which needles people like when they were sort of telling me what they liked to knit with. So on the Chowgoo side, we had Christine, who was telling me she knits with Chowgoos a lot, but she has ones without the bend. So I think I'd really like to knit with those too. So thanks, Christine, for letting me know they do definitely do them without the bend. And Beverly also likes Chow Goose. Hi, Beverly. Beverly always comments. It's lovely to have regular commenters. And Emma from Eldenwood Crafts. So she does a podcast too, so you should go and watch hers. I've actually just recently caught up with her last episode. She's only done 2, but they're really nice, and she's got some really nice things that are sort of similar to my taste as well. Some nice blues and grey colours, really nice. So Emma says that she uses the Chow Goose as well. So we've got 3 people who say Chow Goose, but Emma also says she uses the Knit Pro Zings. So I did mention before that she liked the Knit Pro Zings, and she's a tight knitter, so Knit Pro Zings might also be a good choice as well. But we had a couple of people called Irish and Maureen as well, so they like the Addies. So I think it's pretty much an even split. They're all good needles, I think. And Lily B mentioned that she likes them both anyway. Actually, what was really interesting, that Angie, who's Silver Goose Gog, I don't know if I've pronounced that correctly, because you never know with these Instagram names. She said that she liked DPN cubics, DPNs that are called cubics. I think they're Knit Pro type of needle. I've never tried cubics, but they look really interesting, and Angie says they're really good, so I'm going to have to try some of those as well. And I'd also like to say thank you to Lily B for letting us know about how durable the Drops Fable is. So it appears that she's had some socks for quite a while and it works quite well. So I'm definitely going to buy some Drops Fable again. Definitely, because it's quite a cheap yarn and very affordable. So now I'm definitely finished now. Thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you again in the next episode. Bye!